just have one of those moments where you're just proud of somebody? You feel like what they've accomplished, it brings a little tear to your eye. The gentleman that built this amplifier purchased an amp from me and then became a little bit of a student. And what I mean by a little bit of a student is kind of like how Sharky was a little bit of a student in the beginning, right? They call me up, they maybe buy a piece of equipment, and then they start talking with me about what their future goals and ambitions are. This guy here, I cannot and will not and am not at any point taking anything from this dude and saying I'm responsible for anything, because I am not. He called me and we started talking, and then he started experimenting. And it's the same trajectory path that Sharky took. He sent me up a pallet to look at that was built by another person, that he was disappointed in it. We started talking, he started reading more, he came back to me with a bunch of questions, and then he developed completely on his own, developed his own system. It's the same thing that happened here. This guy bought an amp from me. We talked about it. We covered all the theory on how it worked. He's blown past this. Now he's off building tube amplifiers. But he is building these in a limited run for people. And he sent this up to me months ago, and I haven't had a chance to slow down and look at it. But I opened this amplifier up, and I am proud of this dude. And I told him, man, we're going to go and we're going to shoot a good YouTube video on this. He is selling these, and this one is for sale. And we're going to come back around to that here close to the end of the video like we always do. It comes with the power supply, it comes with the cabinet, it comes with the wall wart. This thing's loaded. There's a lot of really fun stuff going on in here. It's a single MRFX 1K 80H, which means roughly around 1,000-ish watts max, right, out of this one cabinet. It's fairly low drive. It's designed to take like a Striker or like an ICOM 7300 or a Kenwood or a Yaesu or something like that. Not the hopped up Strikers that do 150 million derail watts. We're talking the 80, 90 watt Striker. It's like a 100 watt max drive piece of equipment. I am so proud of this guy. He developed this board on his own. It's manufactured for him exclusively. He designed it. He learned how to build it. Him. But in the beginning, it all started here with a little bit of motivation. And I think it's great. He got into this. He got excited about it. He started teaching himself about it. And now we have one more person in the hobby that's out there trying to innovate, that's out there trying to design, and out there trying to make their own thing happen. And I love that. I love that. The kind of guy that starts out building a 2-pill, and the next thing you know, he's off building multiple transistor LD MOS amplifiers. And I think one of his current projects might be a 3000 right now. I don't know. It's none of my business. All I know is when I'm helping him figure out where to get parts from. Just saying. This thing's neat. Let's reset. Let me get the Lazy Susan out, and let's start looking at the inside of this. I haven't been this excited about something like this in a long time. In a long time. This is our email address that we're going to use to get a hold of him. The Xelectro@me.com. This is our guy right here. This is the company that produced this pallet for him. So it's not like he decided to get on Amazon or eBay or any of those things and buy a pallet pre-made. He wanted to build his own product. And I tip my hat to him for that. I've got several over here that are handmade, that I made myself, but then I immediately went out and had DNR Radio produce me pallets that worked for me. He designed this board himself, and it's going to look a lot like other pallets you've seen, but the fact is it's made to his specifications. His bias circuit he's really proud of. He has a right to be proud. This is some pretty rarefied air that he's getting into. I mean, he listened to everything I had to say, sucked it up with a sponge. Then he read a bunch of books, learned from a bunch of other people. And I'm proud to call him a student. The transistor is soldered down, which is the right way to do it. And look at how thick this spreader is. That heatsink spreader is thick. And then he's got it on a huge piece of aluminum. Of course, it's in an ICA manufacturing cabinet. He's got his input attenuators actually put up. Instead of screwing up the input ratio and the output ratio like some of the other guys, I'm not going to mention any names because remember, here we don't bash people. It's just our job to talk about amplifiers. I'm telling you, there's a lot of stuff here that is really good stuff. The power filtering kit, all the 12 volt comes through this transformer and allows us to keep it isolated to this little space, the RF. This is our output tuning network. He sells these assembled, or he sells them, I think he might be selling them as a kit. You'll have to get with him and ask that question. He is now looking at 65 volt components and up, and he's working on those right now. I think he's got more than like 10 working out there already. It's got an auto key function on it down here on the back. So if the relays pop this, or the switches pop this direction, it's relay activated, otherwise with a foot pedal. And then over here is auto key. This RCA jack allows you to tie into the back of your ICOM, Kenwood, Alinka, whatever. It's a 12 volt relay that works on low current draw. So you don't have to have an idiot box that sits between your radio and the amplifier. Silver, Teflon connectors, good ground lug. This is where the 12 volt wall wart goes. What the 12 volt wall wart does is allows us to have a 12 volt source to power our relays and to power our fans. Now what you guys are all thinking in your head, but BBI, what's this for? Well, it's a PWM controller and it works for temperature, and this is what controls the fan. So instead of having the fan going at full chooch all the time, it's got a little temp sensor that sits right here, and it sits there at a very low idle, and as the amplifier warms up, it's got 2 stages. So it goes idle, a little bit more air, and then a whole lot more air. And, just saying. Now me personally, I would never ever let these 2 trimmers be exposed where anybody could put their fingers on them. They're little digit beaters. I know this from experience. I used to, when I was building these LD Moss amplifiers like this, way back when, like 5-6 years ago, I was leaving these things exposed, and I had one of them where the guy got it and he calls me and goes, "You're an idiot." I said, "Why is that?" And he goes, "Well, I got in there, I started twisting them potentiometers. Man, that thing made a whole lot more power." I'm like, "Right on. Good for you. It won't last." And he goes, "You don't know what you're talking about." Okay. And what he was doing was turning the gate voltage way up. 2 days later, he calls me up, "Man, this thing blew up. It's a piece of junk." I said, "Okay, well, what was your gate voltage set at?" "Well, I don't know. Why?" And I said, "Well, you told me 2 days ago that you were in here adjusting these trimmers." Mine it sat over here, but the trimmers, and I was an idiot because you managed to make it do like 500 more watts. "What's a good thing?" "Well, dude, you blew up your MOSFET. There's nothing I can do to help you out. You send it back to me and I'll buy it, buy a new MOSFET and stick it in there for you. You're gonna have to pay for that." "Man, you should warranty that." So after that, I went through and I'd tape off this area around the transistor and I just Linux the whole inside of the thing. Piss on it. Brave. People are brave, and they're unbelievably stupid. This is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful assemblage. He needs a little bit hotter soldering iron, in my opinion. Just a little bit hotter, but that's okay. Still a very good joint. This thing is pretty. He's even got his own transformers that are getting made, which I applaud him for that. You guys don't know how hard it is to get from knowing nothing to this stage. It's a lot. And he did it in a short amount of time. But then again, if you knew what this guy did for a living, you got to be fairly intelligent to do what he does. A lot of people entrust their lives in this guy's hands every single day. That's all I'm going to say. Very smart guy. So I'm proud of him. I'm really proud of him. The only tips I would ever give him, I'm not even giving that as a tip. I don't have a critique. This thing looks great. Really does. Really, really does. I don't know about you guys. I want to hook it up. I want to see how all it runs. Let's do that. Oh, I freaking love this little thing. This is cute. This is really cute. You guys are going to love this amp. I just got done running it, and I am beyond pleased with my student at the moment. This gentleman is, I should probably quit saying student. Let me change my attitude. This guy is badass. This is a cute little amp. This is exactly what they're supposed to do. Let's just step back here for a minute, and let's look at everything that's going on here. This little box plus that little power supply plus this little wall wart, and we've already talked about how to get rid of this. I've got this hooked up to a single. This amp's doing exactly what it should do, by the way. Hooked up to a single. This is its own committed 20 amp, 110 volt outlet. Okay. So we're not hooked up to 220 or nothing. This is why everybody says tubes are dead and this is the way of the future. Because once you guys see one of these run, you're going to be like, oh, I got to get me one of them. First thing I did was hook it up, make sure I wasn't putting too much drive into it, and I ran just the derail striker into it. Please note the voltage that's on the front of the derail striker. We're 1214 or 12.4. Right now what we have going on over here is a 100 watt element in the peak meter. This one here, 100 watts. Over here is the 1000 watt slug. We've got this set up in peak, and I wanted to show you because I've covered this in many YouTube videos. When the bird meter is in operation, we don't get very good resolution on what's taking place until the needle's over here in this top third. The rest of this down here, there's a little bit of fudge margin that goes on with it. So I'm just going to put 80 watts in it because it doesn't need anything more than 80 watts. Okay, amp is off. Hello, audio. Hello, audio. We are going to put a ridiculously small amount of carrier in it. 1 watt. 1 watt. 1 watt. Hello. Swing into 80 peak. Okay. All right. We're on AM. We're going to operate this on AM. Let's go over here and let's get our pass-through tunes all verified because it's perfect. Hello, 1 2 1 2 1 2. Because this amplifier works with an attenuator, these two units here that are mounted to the heatsink, we don't have to really worry that much about the input tune over here when the amplifier is in operation. But let me change out. Let me come in here. I'm freaking in love with this thing. This is cute. Really cute. All right. So now we got a 1000 watt slug in that hole. Okay. I'm going to have to scoot you guys in closer, otherwise I can't get around everything. Okay. Hello, audio. 80 is still 80. This is on AM. So 1 watt gets you about an 80 watt carrier. Hello. 400 plus bird and pegging the peak kit off the scale. We'll go to 2x. And what 2x means is when the needle gets moved over here all the way to the far right, that's 2000 watts. This hash mark here between the 40 and the 60 is 1,000 watts. So then the next big hash mark here, the 60 is 12, 14, 16, then 18, and then finally at the stop there it's 2,000. This is with 80 watts of drive. Hello. 1,600, no problems. It's going right over there. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello, 1, 2. But BBI, is it clean? Turn the amplifier off. Radio. Amp. Mic drop. Let's go to sideband. Put this into standby. Turn the power up on the striker for sideband. Hello, 1, 2. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. Go down to 1X here. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2. There's our 80 watts on sideband. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Burying it. Let's take this 1,000 watter out. Let's go over here to our slug holder. Let's grab our 5 kW. We're going to put it in the hole. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2. Put this back up on 2X. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2. Sir, my friend, good job. You should be very proud of yourself. 785 is his sideband numbers, by the way. That's... You guys know that the bird meter was never designed to run on AM, right? It was designed to work on sideband, CW, and FM. It was never ever meant to be pressed into the AM service. Hence the reason why Bird had to develop a peak kit. We're seeing 1,600 watts on this meter. We're going to see 1,600 watts roughly over here. Hello, audio. It's a 5,000 watt slug, so we read the center scale to 50. We add a couple zeros. That's 1,000. The next big hash mark is 15. This is with 80 watts of drive, yo. Hello, audio. Hello. This makes me proud. I feel like a proud dad. Like my kid just won the freaking Super Bowl or something. I don't know why, but I do. Every one of my friends that usually start out as customers or whatever, they call me up, and then they make it to this level, and they get to what I'm telling you, this is some rarefied air. This is some thin air that you get to be in. You know, you got to think the amount of money that it costs to get to this level to build, right? Because he's gone out and he's bought all the bird meters, and he's bought the dummy load, and he's bought all the water soldering irons, and he's bought the spectrum analyzer. I think he's actually got the model that's like 5 above this one. He spent all this money just to learn how to make things like this work. Figures it all out with just a little bit of input from me and a few other people, and makes a product and is proud enough of it to sell it, and it freaking works and works right. That is so hard. I'm proud of this guy, and I'm proud of this amp. This thing is cute. What we're going to do now is we're going to shut the derail off. We're going to turn over to the 2950. We're going to put the amp in the off position. Now let's come back over here. And let's put that back in the middle. It's our 1,000 watt slug that's in there. Hello, audio. roughly 20 watts of drive. We're going to put this back into AM service, and let's see what it does with 20 watts of drive. Let's turn this around. Let's bring our dead key up to 1 watt. Bring this up to 1 watt. Let's put this back in reverse. Now let's come back over and look at the peak and the so on and so on. Hello, audio, 1, 2. Get the, love it. Hello, audio, 1, 2. 20 watts of drive, 18 watts of drive. He's making 1,000 watts peak. Let's go over here to sideband. SSB. Hello, audio, 1, 2. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Let's pull the 5K element out. We'll put the 1K element back in. Hello, audio, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello, audio. My friends, I am proud. I am proud of this guy. And he should be proud of himself. This is a huge, huge, huge thing. He should be so proud of himself that he's achieved this. Now, we've been running the malark out of this. We've never heard this power supply go into crackhead mode. It's still perfectly quiet in here. What I am a little bit concerned about is what is our current temperatures on the board, because we have not been using any forced air cooling. We've been talking on it for a few minutes. Right now the component is at 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The max temperature that the FLIR can see is 106. The heat sink is soaked to 87 degrees. FLIR mic drop. I'm impressed. I am impressed. Okay, so let's key a couple 100 watts and sit here and talk for a few minutes. All right, so this amplifier, I'm going to sell it for this guy. And first off, he's got his own YouTube channel. I'll put it right across here for right now. Okay. Xelectro. I think we're going to ask $2,000 for this amplifier as it sits, plus the ride. So amp, power supplies, the whole 9 yards, this exact unit. This is amplifier number 5. I went off and I immediately started bragging to my friend Prime. I said, dude, look at what one of my friends / students did. I'm proud of him, right? And he goes, man, are you sure he built that and it's not a copy of this other guy on YouTube? And I'm like, no, that's my guy, because he's already watching you, Electro. He's already on it. I'm glad you sent this to me. I'm sorry I wasn't able to look at it for the last couple months. Now we're going to high flow. That's what I was waiting on. Sorry I haven't been able to look at this thing for the last couple months. I've had so much going on over here, as everybody knows. But I'm really excited that you sent it up here for me to take a look at it. I cannot stress to you how proud I am of you for doing this and being able to achieve this and build this, and also starting your own YouTube channel. As the time of the filming of this video, he has 261 subscribers. I'm pretty sure that that's going to change by the end of this video. I just have a feeling. So if you're interested in purchasing this amp with all its fancy new cool technology in it that works, and everybody and their brother's going to hear you, 80 watt max drive, give me a call, shoot me a text, say, hey, I want that thing, I gotta have it. I will put it in your hands. Come check out my Patreon channel, please, if you're interested in what we've got going on over here. And it goes right back on to low cool mode. I friggin' dig it. Good job. Big shout out to this guy. Big shout out to every single one of you watching, and a big thanks to my Patreon supporters. Gentlemen, my name is BBI. I am proud of this guy. I cannot lie. I am proud of this dude. I'll see ya. Click, click.